Before invention, the earth was wild and merciless. Golden savannas stretched to the horizon, where early humans wandered beneath burning skies. They were fragile, hunted, hungry, and afraid, yet something within them refused silence. They gazed at storms, at fire, at stars, and began to wonder. In that wonder, instinct met imagination. It was the moment humanity first questioned the world instead of fearing it, the spark before tools. Before civilization, before the mind learned to shape the earth itself, in a world ruled by instinct. A single sound changes everything, the sharp crack of stone striking stone. A spark leaps, fragile and bright, dancing against the wind. For the first time, fire is not feared. It is tamed. Around its glow, shadows gather, humans no longer prey, but creators. With fire came courage, and with courage, thought. They carve bones into blades, stones into tools, and walls into stories. Survival transforms into invention. The Stone Age is no longer darkness, it is the dawn of human imagination. Across ancient caves and windswept cliffs, patterns emerge, lines too perfect to be random, symbols too deliberate to be chance. Hands that once hunted now carve meaning into stone. Spirals mirror the stars above. Animal figures align with the rhythm of the seasons. The narrator whispers, the further back we look, the smarter they seem. These were not aimless survivors, they were thinkers, planners, dreamers. Long before writing, they measured, designed, and remembered. The Stone Age begins to feel less like our past, and more like our forgotten beginning. The camera drifts over ancient ruins, half swallowed by time circles carved with purpose, pit aligned with unseen patterns, and stone faces scarred by tools no one can identify. Scientists argue in hushed awe. How could hunter-gatherers think like engineers? Each groove, each pillar, whispers of knowledge older than civilization itself. Suspense deepens as the narrator reveals a truth both thrilling and terrifying. Humanity's first great mystery lies buried beneath the stones. As dawn light spills across ancient stones, the camera lingers on Göbekli Tepe and Puma Punku monuments carved with impossible precision. The narrator's voice softens. They were not crude survivors. They were creators. Every line, every symbol, defies the limits of their age. The music swells, then fades to silence. The rising sun crowns the ancient pillars, hinting at a forgotten brilliance, one that will soon demand to be understood. As the first light of dawn brushes the earth, shadows stretch across the Great Pyramids, Stonehenge, and the towering stones of the Andes. The narrator's voice rises through the silence. Before the wheel, before writing, someone moved mountains. Each monument stands as a question carved in stone, flawless in alignment, perfect in proportion. No cranes, no iron, no equations, only hands, vision, and purpose. The air hums with forgotten skill. These were not accidents of labor, but masterpieces of intention. And one question lingers like an echo across time. How did they achieve what we still cannot? High in the windswept plains of Bolivia lies Puma Punku, a ruin so ancient. Its builders remain nameless. The cold air whistles through massive stone blocks, each carved with an accuracy that defies time itself. The narrator whispers, even diamond-tipped saws struggle to cut like this. Perfectly interlocking H-shaped stones fit together like pieces of a three-dimensional puzzle. Their edges sharp, their symmetry flawless. Yet this site predates metal tools, the wheel, or written language. Local legends speak of luminous beings who shaped stone as if it were clay. Scientists measure, theorize, and debate, but the mystery endures. No explanation fits. Only ore remains dot in the quiet hills of southeastern Turkey. Buried beneath 12 millennia of dust lies Göbekli Tepe, a temple older than history itself. Towering T-shaped pillars rise from the earth, some weighing over 20 tons, each etched with lions, vultures, and serpents that seem to guard forgotten truths. The narrator's voice deepens. They built this before agriculture, before cities, yet with precision we barely understand. Archaeologists stand speechless, questioning how nomadic hunter-gatherers planned and lifted such monoliths. What force united them? What vision guided their hands? Perhaps humanity's story is older and far more brilliant than we've ever dared to believe. The story shifts from discovery to wonder. Scholars begin to question, how did the ancients move mountains without machines? Some whisper of lost sciences, sound frequencies, magnetic fields, even the power of water. Across Egypt, Tibet, and South America, legends tell of singing stones and rocks that floated at the sound of a chant. Ancient texts speak of vibrations that made mountains dance. Were these myths or memories of a forgotten physics? Perhaps the ancients mastered harmony itself, an age when mind and matter moved as one. The camera rises above continents, from the Andes to Turkey, from Egypt to forgotten deserts. Across thousands of miles, the same language appears: symmetry, alignment, perfection. Stones whisper in unison, echoing the same geometry of stars. The narrator's voice resonates. They weren't primitive. They were pioneers of a world built on stone and stars. As the music swells, the earth fades into shadow. They carved time itself. The voice continues, leaving behind messages we still struggle to read. The mystery deepens, and the search for lost knowledge begins. A low hum fills the air, deep enough to make the ground quiver. Grains of sand begin to dance, shaping themselves into perfect spirals and sacred geometry. The narrator's voice emerges through the vibration. Every sound leaves an imprint, a fingerprint of vibration. What if the ancients knew this? The scene shifts between chanting monks, ringing metal bowls, and echoing temple halls, each resonating with the same haunting frequency. It's as if the stones themselves remember. The air feels alive, pulsing with knowledge long forgotten, a whisper from the past, carried not in words, but in sound. Across the sands of Egypt, ancient legends whisper of stones that sang when the sun struck their surface, a chorus of creation echoing through the desert. In the snow-veiled monasteries of Tibet, monks chant in tones so pure that the air itself seems to tremble, their voices said to lift small rocks into the sky. Far across the world, in the high Andes, tribes tell of the voices of the mountains that shaped temples from living stone. The narrator's voice draws the threads together. Different worlds, same memory, sound as power. Were these only myths or fragments of a forgotten science that once made the earth itself sing? In a quiet laboratory, Ripples of sound take form. Vibrations pass through sand and water, shaping them into perfect spirals and sacred geometry. This is semantics, the hidden architecture of sound. A researcher adjusts a frequency, and tiny spheres rise into the air, held aloft by invisible waves. The narrator reflects, if sound can lift matter today, what could it do thousands of years ago? Across the world, ancient temples in Malta, India, and Egypt hum at precise tones, their chambers resonating like musical instruments. These weren't random designs. The voice continues. They were tuned, each stone a note in Earth's forgotten symphony. The scene shifts to an ancient world alive with rhythm. Drums thunder across the plains, echoing through a gathering of early builders. Voices rise in unison, a chant that seems to merge with the heartbeat of the earth itself. Dust swirls, the ground trembles, and massive stones begin to stir. The narrator's voice deepens. They built with rhythm, not rope. In slow motion, monoliths glide into place as if guided by harmony. Sound and intention move as one, a sacred dance between humanity and nature's unseen forces. The music fades, leaving only the whisper of wind through ancient corridors. Scientists walk among crumbling temples, their instruments tracing echoes that refuse to die. The narrator's voice returns, calm yet haunting. Perhaps their technology wasn't lost. We simply stopped listening. We searched the stars for progress, while they once searched within, tuning themselves to the pulse of the earth. As the final image fades to black, a low, steady hum lingers, a reminder that the song of the ancients may still be waiting somewhere to be heard again. The camera glides through ancient caves, torchlight flickering across walls alive with spirals, constellations, and animal forms that seem to move with the shadows. The narrator's voice murmurs, before the first words were written, they were already writing. In light, far above, monuments like Stonehenge and Nabta Playa align perfectly with the rising sun and the turning of the stars. These were not primitive hands. They were astronomers, mathematicians, keepers of time. They didn't just live beneath the heavens. They built their world in rhythm with it. The focus shifts from stone to spirit, from hands to minds. The narrator asks softly, what if their greatest tool wasn't metal, but the mind? We see Neolithic builders tracking the sun's shadow, predicting eclipses with unerring precision. Farmers plant by moonlight, their crops rising in harmony with celestial cycles. Shamans mark constellations upon rock, mapping the heavens through memory alone. They knew geometry without numbers, music without notation, and time without clocks. Their science was not mechanical, but mental, a technology of awareness, born from silence and observation. Wisdom, once internal, guided a civilization that needed no machines. The tone turns investigative as the camera glides over relics that challenge history itself. In Greece, the Antikythera mechanism, a clockwork computer forged to 1,000 years too soon. In Peru, stone observatories trace the stars with perfect precision. Prehistoric carvings map constellations that should have been invisible to the naked eye. The narrator asks, how did they know what they shouldn't have known? Across continents, whispers of a shared origin emerge, echoes of a civilization erased by flood, ice, and fire. yet remembered in the science it left behind. The tone deepens, shifting from mystery to revelation. Across the Andes, in the deserts of Egypt, the valleys of India, and the plains of Samaria, the same tale endures. Beings who descended from the sky, who brought light, knowledge, and mastery of stone. The narrator pauses. Perhaps they weren't gods, but survivors, fragments of a lost world erased by flood and fire. As glaciers melted and oceans rose, their science became legend, their memory sanctified as myth. Through those stories, humanity's first teachers still reach across time, whispering that we were never alone in our beginning. The music softens, and the images begin to blur. Cave walls, pyramids, and stone circles blending into a single tapestry of memory. The narrator's voice returns, calm and reflective. Maybe myth isn't fantasy, but memory. Tales of floods, fire, and gods may be echoes of survival, encoded through time. As silence deepens, a truth emerges. We are not the first to wonder who we are, only the latest to forget. And in that echoing silence, one question endures. What else have we lost? The camera opens on a new world, not of discovery, but rediscovery. Scientists trace laser scanners across temple walls. Architects map the geometry of pyramids once carved by forgotten hands. The narrator's voice cuts through the hum of machines. We call them ancient. But what if they were simply the first to understand? Drone footage sweeps from deserts to jungles, from lab to ruin, a dialogue between ages. Knowledge, it seems, is not a ladder but a circle. Humanity's next great breakthrough may already be beneath the dust, waiting to be remembered. The story shifts toward rediscovery. In labs and workshops around the world, engineers turn backward in time to move forward. They rebuild the secrets of the ancients. Egyptian buildings that cooled themselves with air and shadow, Roman concrete that grows stronger with age, and Neolithic temples that channel sound with mathematical precision. In India and the Andes, ancient irrigation still nourishes fields where modern systems fail. Scientists test resonance, airflow, and stone, uncovering the elegance of forgotten design. The narrator reflects, they built not for decades, but for millennia. Humanity begins to remember that true progress was once harmony with nature. The tone turns somber, almost mournful, as the camera drifts over crumbling skyscrapers, dissolving into ancient ruins. The narrator asks quietly, what if progress isn't a straight line, but a circle? Civilizations rise in brilliance, fall in silence, and rise again, each reborn yet a little more forgetful of the last. The ruins we study may not be their story, but our reflection. As the earth reclaims what we build, one truth endures. The knowledge of the ancients may have faded, but the spark that birthed it still burns within us. The tone brightens, swelling with hope as ancient ruins fade into the glow of modern skylines. The narrator speaks with quiet awe. Every tool, every thought, every dream began in those forgotten minds. Scientists decode hieroglyphs with lasers. Archaeologists peer into sealed chambers. And artificial intelligence resurrects lost temples in digital light. Past and present merge. Stone merges with steel. Firelight with neon. Humanity isn't leaving the Stone Age behind. It's finding its reflection within it. Progress and memory intertwine, revealing one eternal truth, that every future begins with remembrance. A gentle swell of orchestral music rises as the final images unfold, temples beneath a canopy of stars, their pillars perfectly aligned with the heavens. The narrator's voice softens, reverent and timeless. The Stone Age wasn't an age of stone. It was the age when humanity first touched the stars. Celestial light glimmers across ancient carvings, as if memory itself still burns in the sky. The screen fades to black, subscribed to ancient history's secrets, because the past isn't dead. It's waiting to be rediscovered.